Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level Cap Podcast, your one-stop train stop / Level 99 game stop for all things Level 99 games or otherwise.
Wait, I don't want to be associated with GameStop. Let's roll this back a little bit.
Wait, what? Okay. Sorry.
Anyway, how are you doing, Marco?
Oh my gosh, Brad. Oh, the synchronization before the start. Oh my gosh.
But nobody on the podcast knows about that.
I can-
As far as they know, you've just started talking just
Yeah,
now.
I know.
There wasn't a minute of banter before this that'll be forever lost.
I mean, I can put it in the podcast. I mean, I can just put it in. But
No. I think it's good if this is just something between us that the rest of the world doesn't have.
Oh, it's our special little secret time.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Brad. Good
It's
morning.
these are the secrets that only podcasters know. Time spent before Mike.
Ah, yes. Oh, that's what we like to call. This is one of our innovations in podcasting that we were talking about last episode, right? It's called the pre-show and the post-show, right?
It's a segment that we never air to. That's the that's the catch.
That's what makes it very exclusive. In fact, literally
Yeah.
only 2 people ever hear this. So,
Truly exclusive.
yeah, like way more exclusive than all the exclusive things you've ever heard. So, Brad, welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast. Hello and welcome. How are you on this beautiful, beautiful evening here in the Philippines?
I'm doing good. It's the sun's just rising out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and ready for another exciting day of work and another exciting day of podcasting. So, how about yourself, Marco? What have you been playing lately?
Huh? Whoa, that was fast. Oh, we're
Well,
really picking up in the place. So, welcome to what we've been doing, where we talk about what we've been doing. So, Brad, what I've been doing actually is 2 big things. I've been playing a game called Tangle Deep, which is really really fun. It is a roguelike dungeon crawler. So, of course, because that's all Marco ever plays, right? That's the only thing Marco
yep,
plays.
seems like it.
Yeah, so it's a roguelike dungeon crawler. What I find very interesting about it is that it has a class system, and the classes are really, really interesting because I guess it's like the creator of the jobs / the classes didn't want to be very typical with the way they did classes. So some of the classes are very atypical, and a lot of the typical classes kind of have cool skills that I don't really see in a lot of other games. It takes a huge advantage of the fact that it's tactical combat because it plays like an old school dungeon crawler. So there's like tile based movement, monsters only move after you move and all that stuff. And some of the classes are pretty fun and interesting. Like there's a class called the Spell Shaper, which is basically their version of a wizard, right? And the cool thing about that is that whenever you cast spells, there's actually 2 components to your spell, and all of those are individual skills. So
Okay, is this kind of like the one you showed me earlier, where you customize all the spells in the game?
Oh, that's Magic Maker. I mean, it's kind of like
Yeah.
that, but like,
But just this one class is kind of like that.
yeah, only like that. But like, what do you call this? It's kind of like that, but like not like that. Like you choose an element, and that determines.
Well, what's the name of this game again?
Tangle Deep? It's pretty fun.
Tangle Deep. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I really like it. If you want a like tactical strategy-esque roguelike with cool gameplay elements and cool classes, take it. It's fun. If you love doing like class-based stuff in Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy Tactics where you mix and match a bunch of classes, you can do that too. So that's pretty fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's one.
Cool.
Second one is I've been watching a show called The Good Place. So it's pretty interesting.
What kind of genre is it?
It's like sci-fi / drama, I guess.
Okay.
Comedies. Sci-fi / comedy / drama. The entire point is that the main character, whose name is like Eleanor Shellstrop, I think, she wakes up in this like what looks like a waiting room for an office. And then
Mhm.
there's a giant text in front of her that says, "Everything is fine. You're in the good place." And some guy in a business suit comes in and goes like, "Oh, Eleanor Shellstrop, please come into the office." She comes into the office, and then he goes, "You are dead. This is the afterlife. But don't worry, you're in the good place. Because, you were such a humanitarian, and then you did this, you went to Haiti and fed some kids," and then he basically lists down all of these things that she did, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
she was a humanitarian lawyer, and then she went on a hunger strike, blah, 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 blah. And he says that, based on your actions on Earth, we tally these points, and people who have the prerequisite amount of points end up here in the good place. Everybody else ends up in the bad place, right?
Uh-huh.
And then after all of that orientation, blah blah blah, it's like 15 minutes of the guy in a suit introducing her to the community and to the neighborhood and saying, "Oh, this is paradise," blah 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 blah. And it's like this quaint little town where like every corner has a yogurt shop and whatever. She gets to her house, and then she meets her soulmate, because apparently her soulmate lives in the heaven also.
Uh-huh.
And then she goes like, "Soulmate, you would stay by my side no matter what, right?" And then he goes like, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Good. And you promise you will not do anything that will hurt me, right?" And he goes like, "Yeah." And she goes like, "Okay, I don't belong here. I'm a terrible monster. I sold fake medicine to old people as a job. I think they made a mistake."
Mhm.
So that
And I said, so you think she's maybe in some kind of dystopia? Is that kind of where it goes, or?
it kind of goes more like, yeah, it's kind of like she's in supposedly heaven, right? And then now the entire plot kind of is her trying to hide the fact that she's not a good person. And over time, she
Mhm.
finds out that her soulmate is actually an ethics professor. So she spends a lot of time trying to learn how to be a good person.
I see. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds pretty neat. Huh.
Yeah. How about you, Brad? What have you been doing?
Well, I borrowed Yakuza 0 from some friends.
Oh.
So I've been playing Yakuza 0. I'm just in chapter 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a pretty interesting game. I'm enjoying all the little mini games. It's kind of what I wanted from another Shenmue game, so I can now stop holding out for the next Shenmue game, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, have you played any other
'Cause
Yakuza
I
games?
haven't played any of the other Yakuzas yet. This was my
Oh.
first one.
Okay.
I didn't really know this series was out there, so I'm glad that I found it.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
it's one of my favorite
Glad that my
game
friends
series.
introduced me to it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm enjoying it a lot. You get to like just run around and live in Japan, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
In the '80s, which is a pretty cool time to live in Japan.
Yeah.
Uh, and anywho, yeah, but it's fun. They do like it's kind of got that Saints Row style comedy, but it's still pretty low key. So it's probably like, Saints Row 2 level, where it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but nobody's like going around doing really crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But you like punch people and you beat people up in the streets, and just money just flies out of them like they're pinatas and such like that. It's pretty cute.
Oh man, I love Yakuza.
Yeah, game is a lot of fun. There's a lot of neat stuff that they do in there, and a lot of things they subvert in a really cool way.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
I've well, anyway, I won't go into too many of the details, but it's a fun game. You should play it a lot.
Yeah.
There's things like you can play darts, you can do disco, you can sing karaoke. It's got all these crazy little mini games that are, you go bowling, all this stuff. I don't know. Anyway, fun game.
Yeah.
The other thing I was playing recently, I started playing Night in the Woods.
Ooh.
And this is like an adventure game, a traditional adventure game. You just go to places and talk to people. Kind of about the like small town. I feel like it's about small town America. And I'm playing it through with my wife Linda, and about every 5 minutes she goes, "Oh, this is just like West Virginia, where I'm from," and it's it's the small town. A lot of people are your character is this 20-something who comes home from college, decides that college isn't working out, and you meet all your old friends from high school, and some of them have got jobs, some of them are kind of washed up, some of them are they're trying to hold on to their youth for as long as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that they do, like they go have drinking parties out in the woods. They go and like just steal stuff just because.
Okay.
There's one section where you go to the mall and your character's like, hey, we're gonna do crimes. Let's steal this thing.
Nice.
And it's something they don't even want, and it's this useless thing, but they just steal it to steal it because it's the thing to do, and there's nothing else to do in this town.
Oh my gosh.
It's that kind of a life. Like your main character is May is the bass player in this band, this small town band. And so you get to play the bass. That's in this like DDR rhythm type game.
Oh, wait a minute. Can we make this very clear? I think the listeners don't know this, but all the characters are anthropomorphized animals, right?
It's kind of like if you ever wanted Animal Crossing to have a story, this is kind of a good the story for Animal Crossing with a story. The characters are like these paper cutout animals. It looks kind of like Paper Mario meets Animal Crossing. The art style is super great. The characters never talk about being animals though, so it's not really a, I don't know, anthropomorphized thing as so much as it's a stylistic choice.
Oh,
It's difficult. It's difficult line to explain properly, but
I see. So it's kind of like if you literally just palette swap all of the characters with humans, nothing would change, right?
nothing at all in the game would change. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, characters don't view themselves as animals, like say they would if you were playing like Redwall or even, Armello or something. They don't ever talk about what kind of animals they are. So I wouldn't say this is an anthro game or anything. It's a game where the characters are stylized as animals.
That's
Minor point, but yeah.
Huh.
You'll see if you look up Night in the Woods, you'll see the art style. You know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game. But it's kind of dark because all these characters are like they have real psychological problems.
Uh-oh.
Like some of them are really depressed, so they're insecure, they're uncertain of themselves, they're afraid of the future. They just have nervous stress. They're jealous. They're like real people with real people problems in this real people town.
Oh.
It's probably some of the best writing I've encountered in video games in a long time.
Oh, okay. If that's coming from you, that's probably a huge compliment. So,
Yeah.
Is this something Mark?
So I think you should. I think you. I don't know if you'd enjoy it, but it's certainly worth checking out. I mean, you just watch a Let's Play if you're not certain.
Oh, that's true. My partner has a copy of it. I gifted it to them. So,
You'll know in the first 10 minutes of watching the intro whether this is the kind of thing that you're interested in.
I see. I always got the vibe that Into the Woods was secretly a horror game.
I mean, I'm like 2 hours in and I don't think it is yet. So
oh my god,
it's a little bit tense, and like I said, it's dark, but it's not what's the word? It's not like horrific. It's not like in the way that It's not like Oxenfree where it's trying to be a spooky adventure game.
Anyway, Brad, is that all you've been doing? Mm-hmm. Have you been? Can I ask you one thing?
That's pretty much it. I've been working a lot on Seventh Cross and on Imperial Spells and Steam. So, yeah, a lot of stuff's coming along.
Well, no, Brad. See, this was supposed to be an elaborate segue into the next segment, but okay. So I have to come up with a new one. So character of the week.
Here I'll do one. Yeah. So next week on BattleCon Online, or rather in the next 3 weeks in BattleCon Online, our upcoming character will be Marmalee.
Oh.
Woo! This will be your first chance to play the newly rebalanced, re-updated, reviabilitized Marmalee.
Not revitalized, it's reviabilitized.
Yeah.
She's viable now.
she's been reviabled, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Alright, Brad. Tell us some quick and easy previews for Marmalee. What's her last name?
Marmalee Greyheart is her name.
There you go, because her dad's Greyheart. Okay.
Because her dad is the Dragon King Greyheart. Her mother is Agena Callista, the Dragon Queen. And yeah, that's so Marmalie is the last remaining princess of the Dragon Empire, which fell 1,000 years ago. She was actually born only about 600 years ago
Only.
from from an egg that was lost in an old temple in the jungles of Amalau. And anyway, so she woke up from that, and she was taken in by the Dryads of Amalau, which is kind of this lost continent that's been cut off from the world for centuries and centuries. And she was raised by the Dryads to eventually become like the new Dragon Queen, because in Amalau they have a cult where they worshipped the dragons, and they thought that the dragons were the best thing ever. Of course, we need to be ruled by dragons, and they finally found one, and they're like, oh my gosh, now we're going to be train this dragon to rule over us.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And so she did that for a few hundred years, and Marmalie was pretty much a giant brat. And she got everything she wanted, and everyone had to do whatever she said, and et cetera, et cetera. And she used to have these big tantrums.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. When you say giant brat, is this literally like was she actually giant?
Well, I mean, she could certainly turn into a dragon, but she wasn't a very big dragon at that point.
Okay.
You know, it takes a long time to become a really, really big dragon, like Berman is.
Oh, how big?
Or
Okay.
Agena is.
How big is baby Marmalie dragon? How big is a baby dragon?
Probably about the size of an adult.
Of an actual human adult.
Yeah, in dragon form.
Oh my gosh. And then when they turn human, they're baby sized, like actual.
They're like child size, yeah.
Aw, cute. All right, sorry for the sidebar. I just wanted to know.
No, it's okay. I mean, they're not born helpless like humans are.
Oh,
So.
okay, I see. All right.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Anyway, so she was a huge brat, and she threw a lot of tantrums, and she used to do all this stuff. Anyway, one time she accidentally killed a bunch of people. By like throwing a tantrum and knocking down part of the palace. And so this got her so distressed that she ran away. She flew away to this island off the coast of Amalau called Lakami, where all the elementals live. And there she kind of set up in seclusion and ran away from the world for a few hundred more years. And when she came back from this seclusion, she was a much different person. She kind of was trained by the elementals how to control her emotions, how to tamp down her temper, how to
mature as an actual person.
Yeah, how to mature as an actual person. So she learned a bit of discipline and asceticism, and so she came back and apologized to the people of the country. And of course, they're like, "Oh, Marmalie, we still worship you. You know, please be our dragon queen." And she was like, "No." She said she's not going to do any of that. And so they gave her the position of national historian for the republic, because Amalau is actually the one republic in the whole country, or in the whole world of Indians.
Oh, okay.
And so they gave her the position national historian, and now she travels around the country collecting stories and recording cultures from everybody in this like subcontinent.
I guess it makes sense, right? You would literally, like, who better to be the national historian than a dragon who probably lives millennia at some point, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people in Amalau live a long time because they're really closely tied to nature. So the Dryads will live a long time and record all their history through their roots and such like that. But they don't travel a whole bunch.
Yeah, because they're stuck to their trees, right?
Yeah, generally. They're pretty sedentary. Aside from that, there's a lot of weird stuff in Amalau, too. There's this whole island full of like strange alien creatures. There's a bunch of underwater stuff. They actually have water dryads that like live in the coral reefs in the bays, that sort of thing.
Are there trees the corals?
It's not totally clear.
I see.
I won't say too much about it, but there's like trees that have coral growing on them. Underwater trees.
Underwater trees. All right.
The underwater areas are still pretty mysterious, so I don't have a lot of data on those for you yet.
Oh man, Indians fish people.
There certainly are fish people, though.
Yeah, I don't want them to be like mermaids, though. I want them to be like half humanoid scorp like lobster.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything about it. I mean, there are beast folk like that, and you see there are a couple. Like there's one in Argent that's actually a beast folk from El Malau.
Oh,
His name's Rokan, and he's in the technomancy department. So if you got your copy of Argent, you can look him up.
yay! And if you don't, buy
Yeah.
it. Buy Argent. Yeah.
Well, you can't right now because it's totally sold out everywhere.
Oh no. Scalp it from the black board game market.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just eBay. But anywho, Marmalie. What else about Marmalie? Marmalie is really bad at sorcery. You might not notice this because she can like cast these big spells and destroy a lot of stuff. But compared to Agenna, she's really bad at it, and she makes up for being bad at it with just natural draconic bloodline power. So thing like the kind of power level that people like Kalistar have to work a long time, really hard for. Marmalie kind of gets for free and is still not very good at it. And then she can turn people to stone by looking at them, just like Agenna can.
Just like her mom.
Yeah, but
Every mother's
when she gets agitated or upset, she can't control this power very well and accidentally turns things to stone. And this is why she wears these thick glasses to block out the stone gaze effect.
Oh, okay. So she doesn't have a vision problem. She just has a
No.
vision problem.
She doesn't have. She has a more of a. I guess she has a
Looking problem.
What do you call it? That. Yeah, she's got these dragon eyes that don't always do what she wants them to.
Huh. Interesting. So, I have a.
And that's not a general dragon power. It's specifically Agenna's bloodline that has that stone gaze power.
Wait, does that mean every dragon bloodline has different kinds of powers? Huh.
Yeah, they all do different things.
What's Berman's? Is he just really good at doing sorcery?
We could talk about that in the Berman episode,
We
but I
already
think
had
Fire Breath. Fire Breath is generally what Berman's dragon line is good for.
I see. No, we already did a Berman episode. Just
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
yeah. Okay, so a few things about Marmalie. Okay.
So like Marmalie doesn't really have like fire breathing.
Oh, she just turns things into stone.
Yeah, she's a stone dragon. And then whatever Greyheart is, because Greyheart is a little different than the other dragons too.
Because if I remember correctly, the blank king doesn't necessarily mean it's a blank, right? So the Dragon King doesn't necessarily mean it's a dragon.
He is. He is a dragon, but he's more like a deity than he is like an individual member of the race.
So so he's like a god, right?
He's more like the dragon god, and just like there's like a god elemental and a god dryad out there somewhere that is linked to like the the core of the plane.
Like
Greyheart has that kind of connection to the world of Indians.
I see. So he's not okay. I think I get it, but I might not. Like the Wolf King is.
I don't want to explain it I don't want to explain it too clearly because some of it is plot relevant stuff that we're going to reveal later.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Can I ask you some things about Marmalie?
Yeah, sure.
Number one, are all dragons really, really, really tall when they're in human form?
Yes. Yeah.
So how tall is Marmalie?
Marmalie is probably about 7-8 feet tall, somewhere in that range.
Oh, not 10 feet? I thought she was 10 feet tall.
No, she's not like that crazy.
I see.
But you would see this person in a crowd and be like that person is kind of surreal.
Ah, and she even wears heels, right? So she must be towering over most people. Second question: does your hair color determine what your dragon scale colors are?
I guess it does in Marmalie's case because she's pink and in dragon form. But I don't know that that's true in general. I haven't made any kind of rule like that.
Okay, I see. Does Marmalie like being in dragon form?
It's probably not very effective to get around since the cities she lives in were built for humanoid creatures.
Okay. So, one last thing. This is really relevant, Brad, so please.
Yeah?
what inspired Marmalee's gameplay style in BattleCon Devastation? Like,
Ah,
I couldn't glean it from her lore or from any. Like, she learned discipline, I guess. Is that it?
it's I mean, Marmalee is more of your traditional black mage type character that has to charge up a spell for a long time and then use it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to capture that kind of gameplay in a fighter. Someone who would build up a big attack over multiple turns and then unleash it for big benefits when time is up. Someone who can threaten you in a over the course of several turns as they charge up.
That's interesting. Cause, how do I explain this? Because from the way that she plays mechanically, Marmally is quite a defensive-oriented character
Hmm.
compared to an
Yeah, that
offensive
that
type.
kind of arose from the needs of that playstyle because in order to be a defensive character, or in order to survive for multiple turns to charge up an attack, you kind of have to be a defensive player.
Oh, that does make sense, right? Hmm.
Hmm.
So that's not necessarily because Marmally doesn't like being on the offensive or is a reserved slash defensive kind of person. It just so happened because that's what would make it balanced.
Hmm.
I see.
Yeah, that's kind of what she needed in order to use that playstyle. So she ended up becoming more defensive.
I see. Oh, let's talk about some Marmally mechanics. So Marmally is a very, and I mean very defensive character, who
Yeah,
actually, interestingly enough, I think optimal Marmally play plays nothing like charge big laser than shoot big laser.
but I think that's a weakness in her old kit, and I think that's probably going to be addressed in the updates to
Oh, is she
Marmalade.
gonna be like?
So,
Oh, is she literally now gonna be charge my laser, shoot my laser?
I'm not totally certain where she's going to end up, but that's the intended playstyle for her, so she'll probably be closer to that.
I see. Okay, because in PaperCon, the way Marmally, like the way optimal Marmally works, is that you basically try to never spend any of the concentration. So every turn you gain
Yeah,
concentration, and then you gain access to a lot of effects, depending on whether or not you're able to spend your concentration. And then if you get stunned, you lose all your concentration. So the way
yeah. Well,
Marmally,
I told you with characters that have specific race, we tried to incorporate that race as a motif into the way they play. So if you notice the dragon characters, Agena and Marmalie and Berman, they're all these build-up characters who kind of charge up an ability over time, and then unleash it for some big power spike at the end.
yeah, I
Agena does it over the course of the whole battle for her instant win condition. Berman can use a lot of cool spells by charging up. And Marmalie is kind of the same way. While you have this power, you have so many options and so much viability on everything you do. But as soon as you use it, you lose all that. And then you have to wait a few turns before you're viable again.
yeah, indeed. And I think that's
So,
what makes Marmalie really fun. Like, I guess how to explain this? Like, she's basically a character who plays cards that are quote unquote bad, but if you have enough concentration, they're all safe. Like almost every
mhm,
attack she plays is safe. So, and almost every attack she does lets you spend the concentration counters as a choice after seeing the board state. So essentially, you can keep playing attacks, and then if your opponent doesn't do something to stop your attack, you can choose to not spend your concentration, and it basically stockpiles over and over. Of course, that's not effectively how it turns out because Marmalie essentially gets stat gated. So the moment somebody has enough power slash priority, she kind of like falls to the. She gets crushed under it. She gets crushed under the
yeah.
stats.
Then Force Gauge helps her out a little bit, but she's still going to get a few buffs for the upcoming Devastation remaster. And you'll be able to see those in advance on BattleCon Online.
Yes. Oh my gosh. A lot of characters have been coming into BattleCon Online, receiving adjustments. You know, getting better. Schecter's getting nerfed, thank goodness. And Cesar's also getting nerfed, thank goodness. You know, or Rothlam got some buffs, and it's really interesting getting to see all of these characters quickly evolve because basically every patch that comes out, like this character gets changed, and I'm like, this is amazing.
It's good because we got a lot of data now that will help us to understand where the characters are and what's going on with them. And also, we've got a great team running balance on it. So shout out to Daniel Anderell who's leading balance on this project and going through all the characters and really handling these matchups in a way that I can't do myself. So I want to say props to him for making BattleCon Online really stand out in terms of the balance and replayability of the characters.
Speaking of which, by the
Yeah.
way, I want to please everyone, if you want to get in on helping us make BattleCon Online the best BattleCon Online it can be, go over to the Discord, the link for which can be found in the description down below, and we will literally, and I mean literally, get you in on the stuff so that you can help us balance. And Daniel, for as awesome as he is, still needs more people to test.
Yeah, the more statistics, the better the balance we can get. Yeah, we certainly need more help with that. So give us a hand, help us balance.
Help us balance. All right, so that pretty much does it for our Character of the Week segment. If you want us to talk about a specific Character of the Week, please tell us in the comment section down below, and we will get to the character as soon as possible. This week was Marmalade because, she's coming out. So, now that we've brought back this segment, can we get some more suggestions? So, Brad, tell me.
Yeah.
Brad, tell me, are you ready to answer some 99 questions, which is served hot, baked, fresh, or it's free from the mouths of our listeners straight into the palm of our hands, which we'll then put into our ears?
That's quite a range of motion. What question number are we on anyway, Marco?
Oh, wait. Post reboot? After reboot?
After the dark and gritty reboot.
After the dark and gritty reboot, we're basically at question 60 something at this point.
Really? Well, what are we gonna do when we get to 99 again? Are we gonna do a darker, grittier reboot?
No, we're gonna do the reverse. We're gonna subvert it, right? We're gonna do ultra family friendly reboot.
Okay.
So we're gonna turn into level cap podcast Go, essentially. Like Teen Titans Go. So essentially, we'll get worse. Okay, that's not good. We can't. We can't get.
I don't know what's happening anymore. Let's just go to the questions.
All right, sure. Okay, Brad, let's list down some of these. Let's ask some of these questions. Question number 1 actually comes from. Wait, it says you.
Wait, so I'm gonna start off with the first question this time, Marco, because I wanted to ask you. You've done a lot of videos and a lot of stuff for level 99 games throughout the years, and I wanted to know if you could have everybody watch one of your videos, which one is your favorite video? Like the one that you'd say, everybody ought to watch this because this is my finest work.
Oh, finest work or the Because there's a difference between what I believe to be the most well-produced good video and what I feel is my favorite.
Well, why don't you tell us both?
Okay. If it's the most well-produced piece of work, it would probably be the last episode of Battle Guides because, it's the last iteration, so it is literally the best thing I could have made at that point, right?
Which character is that one
I think
for?
Is it? I think it's
someone from Trials, wouldn't it be?
No, it's someone from Fate. We haven't done Trials yet. We've only done previews.
Oh, okay.
Right, and because people have been telling me, Marco, we need Trials. And I'm like, I haven't gotten enough games on Trials characters to make guides on them, guys.
Oh yeah.
Because Trials, I haven't even gotten my copy of it yet. So. Yeah. I mean.
Well, we should probably look into that. Everybody else has got it by now.
Oh, whoopsies. Okay. No, but seriously. I think it's somebody from Fate. It has to be someone from Fate. I think it's Eustace?
Okay.
Anyway, just the latest episode is probably the most well-produced one, has the best, backgrounds, probably some of the better script writing, and, it's concise and it's nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is the most awesome thing that I've ever made is actually not a video. If anyone were to read/watch something that I made, it would be my article about. I made an article about parrying. It's on the official blog site, link for which I'll probably put in the description down below. But yeah, I made an entire article about parrying, and that's one of my favorite articles I've ever written. So yeah, the reason why I love it so much is because it was a concept. So it's how do I explain this? Rarely is it the case that I make a piece of content or I make a video because somebody else taught me that thing and I now want to teach that thing to other people. most of the time I just learn the things through natural play and then teach the
Mhm.
people, or use my previous experience and then try to turn that into a digestible chunk of information for people to digest, for people to take in, right? But parrying was a concept that I never really explored back when I was playing BattleCon with my friends. It's just not something that we did in our meta, because
It's pretty high level stuff.
it's pretty high level stuff. Also, my friends made Demetris, so
Oh, so yeah, that kind of takes off the table too.
it never happens, man. It never happens. So yeah, so when I started playing a lot of BattleCon online and BattleCon on Sheets, it started becoming a big thing. Shout outs to D/Tyrankin/ Daniel Zeiger, haha, pronounced your name right, and Elephant, because they are literally the people who do this to me all the time, and I hate it. I
Mhm.
hate it whenever they do it to me. It's hard. It sucks. Because I'm not used to it. But
Oh, okay.
because they kept doing it to me, I'm like, okay, there are objectively good things or good reasons to do this thing, right? To purposely clash
Mhm.
people. And because I learned that through play, because other people who were teaching me essentially taught me this new concept, I was able to, I guess, better teach it to other people. Because most of the time when I'm learning things through natural play, I'm not sure whether I'm not always 100% sure whether what I'm saying is actually correct, or just me like attributing some random stuff and going, oh, this must be a thing, right? Magic numbers,
Uh-huh.
right? But like this thing is a, but this thing is an actual thing that people have agreed on and people
Well, I
have really
think
figured out.
that's part of the I think that's part of the culture around the game is that you discover these things and they're just the way the game is, but then you layer onto them, like you said with magic numbers, like it's a thing that we didn't specifically build into the game. It's just a feature of balance, and then but it becomes something that players can understand and talk about and create a culture around around how they talk about the characters in the game. It's really neat. And I think that yeah, parrying is another one of those things where clashing is it's a neat way to resolve the ties, but it actually became a major part of gameplay through the as the game evolved with the community around it.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
it's pretty neat to see how all that's come together, and and also how players use that to evolve the like guess for lack of a better word, the mythos of the game, the way that the game plays out in your mind's eye, what you imagine that each of these mechanics represents in terms of a real battle.
Yeah, speaking of which, I guess
So,
I have a question about that. Like, in your mind, what was clashing like? Like, what was it supposed to represent?
I think it was. I mean, I guess it's that moment when you both attack at the same time and your hitboxes overlap and you get blown back. That kind of happens in Guilty Gear and in Blaze Blue. Some of the Axis fighters or the Arc System Works fighters.
Mm. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Clash it wasn't actually my idea. It was suggested by one of the playtesters. Um,
Oh.
yeah,
Well,
and so so it was one of the things that a playtester was like, well, why don't we just do this as an alternative rather than just having whoever was fastest last turn wins. It used to be like an
Exceed.
initiative type system.
It used to be
Yeah,
Exceed.
like kind of like Exceed. But still with a simultaneous play. But anyway, someone was like, well, why don't we just resolve it in this other way? And I was like, that's really cool. Let's do it. And it became a key part of the game.
Yeah, it became. Oh my gosh, it's such a key part of the game, and like, oh man, I just love clashing. I mean, I hate playing against Cherry, but I love clashing. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Cherry's always been a favorite. Well, I don't know. Maybe someday she'll make it back to BattleCon Online.
Yeah. Oh no, Brad, what have you done? All right, Brad, here's another question, but this one's for you. I guess for both of us. If you
All
had
right.
to play a board game against death for your soul, what game would you choose?
Well, I guess the important question is Death going to cheat? Is this going to be like, like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where you have to fight one of the Darby brothers?
Um,
Or is this going to be like a fair game all the way through?
I guess it's like a fair game in the sense that death won't necessarily break the rules, but death has thousands of years of experience on top of you.
Yeah. So I guess I'd play the only game you can play against death fairly, which is Shoots and Ladders.
So you're leaving it all to random chance. Is that?
Well, so it's an interesting thing you may not know that Shoots and Ladders is actually one of the oldest board games, and it's appeared in multiple cultures, going all the way back to like the Middle Ages. It's been in India. It's been in in like Byzantium. It was in like early America, in Europe, like all the different countries of Europe. And every time that the game shows up, it's a game about life. It's about the virtues and that bring you up and the vices that carry you down. And even though it is just random throws of the dice or random draws of the cards, the idea is that this game was designed to teach players that if they pursue discipline and morality and virtue and all the good things in life, that they will advance further, and if they fall into these traps of vice and indolence, that they will sink lower in life. So I would say that that Shoots and Ladders is kind of the game we all play against death all the time.
Okay. What? Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
But what would you play, Marco?
I can't beat that answer. What? I should have gone first. Oh my gosh. That was awfully profound. That's
it's Shoots and Ladders is a bit more profound than you might imagine.
Okay. I would play. Oh my gosh. I guess the only board game I know how to play. Let's play some Battlecon Death. Look, here's the thing. 50-50s. It's
But what if Death plays Octavia or Caitlin or Eric even?
Oh no. I guess that just means I have to play one of them too. Then it would be truly a battle to the death, right? It would be absurd.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I think Death always plays Vana though, so you're probably okay.
Oh yeah, that's true because lore jokes. Oh man. I won't even explain it. Only the lore people will get it.
Okay. Anyway,
right. Last question.
Let's see.
This one's for you, and this one's for you. Is there any chance that we'll see the individual BCO style art cards in physical form, perhaps in the latest Devastation update?
So, I mean, here's the thing. I have always wanted to do the full illustration cards, but for the sake of consistency with the physical game, we haven't done it. And given that we'd reprint 30 characters in Devastation with those cards, even if we printed them with those cards, we would then eventually be committing ourselves to going back and remastering War and remastering Fate and remastering Trials with those kind of style arts on every card. So I don't think that it's a good idea from the standpoint of supporting the game, the physical game that we've already made. It would be great in in 5 or 10 years when we come back and we say, like BattleCon's been, like if we decide to bring it back someday, in like 10th anniversary edition or something. But the game would have to be dead and then be brought back for such a big change as that.
BattleCon Definitive Edition.
Yeah, so I don't think that we'll put art on every individual card. Just because of the issue of consistency with the rest of the games that are out now.
I see. Okay, I mean, like, that's
That
fine.
said, we do have other cool things planned for the Devastation update. So, and we'll be announcing some more of those as time goes by. But for right now, the big thing is Imperial, so that's what we're going to be talking about and pushing for the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, wait. Was that a train joke somewhere?
No, there was no train joke. It was just regular old trains.
Okay, I see. Okay, look, was there a train joke there?
I can make a train joke if you want.
Please, I am in eternal
I think
hell.
your inquiry is going off the rails here, though. Trying to find these
there
train
you
jokes.
go. So let's get back on track.
Yeah. Stick to your station, Marco.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys. Thank you so much for answering all those questions, Brad. And that pretty much does for our 99 question segment, where we answer the hot-baked questions straight from your lips into our pockets. So, Brad, tell me, do I have your permission to end? end my suffering.
Well, I feel like you're kind of railroading this towards the end of the episode. But sure, we can pull this podcast into the station and call it a day.
All aboard the ending segment. Choo choo.
Oh wow. You must be really tired, Marco. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for putting you through this. This podcast has run a little bit long.
Oh no, it's okay. I loved all of that lore stuff, man. Here's the thing: whenever we do a character of the week, the episode gets long, and that's fine.
Yeah, we do tend to start rambling on.
But it's great. I love all the lore that we end up going into. But regardless of that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Level Cap Podcast. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put us in the please tell us in the comment section down below, whether you're listening to this on the blog site or you're listening to this on YouTube or wherever you may find your podcasts. Also, as a big deal, if you guys listen to this podcast and found it interesting and found it cool, perhaps tell a friend about it. You know, maybe they'll find their musings about snakes and shoots and ladders, snakes and ladders, shoots and ladders. What is it again? Like, because
it's shoots and ladders. I mean, it's shoots and ladders, snakes and ladders. You know, they're all different. Every culture is different.
I see. Because in my place it's snakes and ladders. So yeah, you know, I guess there's a lot of like Christian imagery there because snakes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm in a predominantly Christian country, so I guess that makes sense. Anyway, if you guys if you guys have a friend, share it with them if they think if you think they'll enjoy it. If you have an enemy, share it with them if you think they'll hate it. Either way, the news gets out, and it's gonna be fine. So as usual, it has been me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as the Mechanic Critic / Eminem Kami / some Asian guy. And with me has been my wonderful co-host who has given me some deep life lessons to think about after this podcast.
Brad. Just Brad.
Oh.
Yep, that's me.
Wait. Are you sure you're just Brad?
Brad Tal. Yep.
All right. And as usual, thank you so much for staying with us. Don't forget your special action, and thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming. You know, I don't always have to say my catchphrase the way you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry.